Hello, this is a how-to video to design a custom teacher tote. That's going to be a heat press vinyl tote. This needs to have at least one shape that uses the trace feature and then also has some text in there as well. The whole thing is going to be out of one color. And then per the instructions we have a 12 by 12 workspace. So the default page size in Silhouette is 12 by 12 here. But if you were working with a smaller size, you can always go to this top option in the the right-hand menu, the page setup panel, and that's where you can change your size if you wanted it to be like 6 inches by 6 inches or 10 by 10, whatever size you were dealing with. So I'm going to reset this to 12 by 12. There we go. Enter. This is also where you can change, and the second option is the grid settings. So if you didn't want the grid to be there, you could take it away. You could change how many divisions are in there, what color the grid is. You can play around with it a little bit, but there are some options there. So here is our space. I'm going to design my bag for a math teacher. I was a math teacher back in the day. So I'm going to open up a new Google Sheet. I'm going to type in, I'm going to search for math silhouette and see what comes up. I'm not sure what's going to come up on here. I'm going to click on images. So we've got a chalkboard, we've got some math symbols there, we've got someone teaching some math. Ooh, I like this pie. That's got a lot of numbers in there, though. That might be a pain in the butt to weed. Remember, I'm looking for things that just have one color. So here with all of these different colors, that wouldn't be a great option. Just to show you if you wanted to only look at black and white options, up in the top when you're looking at images in Google, if you choose tools, there is going to be a color option, and if you click on that, you can choose black and white. So now it's only going to show you black and white options. It'll just make everything a little bit easier. So I think for my shape, for my little teacher bag, I'm going to choose, I'm going to go with this shape up here with all these circles with different math symbols in it. I'm going to follow those same steps that I did last time. So I'm going to right click on the shape. I'm going to go to Save Image As. I'm going to save this into my downloads, and I'm going to choose this as a math option. And I want this to save as a, oh, I must have clicked the wrong thing. So cancel, Save Image As. Alright, so this isn't letting me save it as a picture, a PNG file, which is fine. I can just choose a different file. Go to symbols. This is, oh dear. We don't want any of those. We'll just do these ones for now. Right click on those guys, save image as. Now this is going to let me save as a JPEG. Great. Type in math, and we're good to go. Remember, to get that into Silhouette, we're going to open up our files, and in our downloads, here's our little math symbol. We just pull that right into Silhouette. You can make it as big or as small as you'd like. To use the trace feature, we're going to go over to the right-hand side. The trace panel is this one, the fourth one down, little butterfly. I'm going to click on Select Trace Area and use these crosshairs to go around the shape. And then this is going to give me that yellow outline. Just to show you, if I did kind of stretch this out a little bit, my yellow shape here, there we go. It will get these little letters in there. So let's just do that just to show you what you do. There was some little text in the image too. So I'm going to go ahead and press Trace, grab my object and move it out of the way. So now I have my 4 plus minus multiplication and division, but I also have these little letters over here that I don't want. So to get rid of those, I can right click, and I'm going to go down to Release Compound Path. That's going to, instead of have this be like one big shape, it's kind of like ungroup. And now you can see that, like, now when I click on this, just the times X is selected, and here just the minus sign is. So now I can go ahead and select all those little letters down there, and then I can just press the delete button on my keyboard, which will get rid of them. I'm going to go back up to these shapes, and I do want these together. So I'm going to select all those, and then I can right click and choose group. And now those are all nice and put together. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that it takes up some more space of my tote bag here. Maybe about 6 inches. There we go. Okay. And then remember, I can use this align tool, and that's going to go right into the middle of the page. This one will get it in the middle. There we go. And then I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my computer to just move that up to right there. That looks great. And then the next thing I'm going to do is put my my name. So I'm going to choose the alpha tool over here on the right side. Click on the anywhere on the workspace, and then I'm going to just type Miss Wallace, and underneath I'm going to write math teacher. Now I'm going to choose a fun font. So I'm just going to do a disconnected font for this guy, but something a little more interesting than Arial. So I'm just going to scroll through, find something that's a little more fun. Oh, that looks like a cafe one. That's really thin. I don't want to have to worry about this being a difficult cut or a difficult weed, so I'm not going to do something too thin like that. Ooh, let's do this dark forest one. Sure, that looks interesting. I'm going to double click on this guy again and select those letters. And then up here in my alpha options, my toolbar at the top, there is going to be a center alignment, so I can just make sure that looks nice and neat and together. And then I'm going to make this bigger. So I want to make that nice and big. We're going to click on, so I can't change the size of it right now because I can just change the size of the font. If you right click on this and go to make compound path, essentially what we just did is we changed it. I could still resize it. I could change the color of it. I could change the nodes if I wanted to, but I can no longer change the font. By making it a compound path, I'm telling Silhouette that I no longer want to treat these as letters. I just want to treat them as a shape. So now I can click on this guy and go up to that arrow tool, which will let me change the size, and I can make my letters exactly, the name part exactly 8 inches. Now I can select all of this, and using my align tool, choose that center alignment again, make sure everything's nice and neat in the middle. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to make this part of my name bigger. We'll make this part 10. There we go. And now we're going to center that. And I'm going to group it together. So I'm just going to right click and click group. And then again in the center tool, there's this option. The first one is going to just go right in the middle of the page. So now I have a nice design. I've got my math symbols, and I have the name and the math teacher underneath it. So that's good to go. Now, let's say we wanted to kind of do it the other way, which is we wanted like a big shape and we wanted to take something out in the negative space. So I'm just going to move this design off to the side over here. And for this one, I'm going to choose a dinosaur. I like dinosaurs. So I'm going to go back to my Google search, and instead of having math silhouette, I'm just going to type in dinosaur silhouette and see what comes up for these options. I'm just going to choose a fun little, I like a stegosaurus here. So I'm going to click on my stegosaurus and right click, save image as again, and go down to dinosaur. There we go. It's nice and saved. I'm going to go back to silhouette and into my files. On their downloads, I'll see my dinosaur right here, and I can drag that right into the workspace. I'm going to trace it again. So on my trace panel, select trace area, draw that shape around it. We got a nice little stegosaurus there. This one we might want to just adjust the threshold again. I could give it more detail or less detail. You can kind of play around with it to get the level of detail that you want. And then click trace to get that nice red outline that we're looking for. I'm going to move my stegosaurus over to the side. I'm going to use my little arrow tool to make this guy 10 inches wide. And I'll put that right in the center there. Nice. And now what I'm looking for in this design is I want the stegosaurus to be cut out, and then I want letters to be cut out inside of it. So I'm going to use my alpha tool again. I'm going to go in. For this one, I want a really simple font. I'm going to just choose like a nice, simple, the stencil font. That's always a really easy weed. Nothing too complicated. It will all come out in one picture or in one poll. If I can find it. There it is. Click stencil. And then I'm just going to type the CMSD. Oh, it disappeared. Okay, let's try again. CMSD, and then now I can click on this and change that to the stencil font. can adjust the size so it's inside of it. Now, if you think about how this will look when it comes out, the Stegosaurus is going to be cut out in vinyl. So the letters are going to be white, essentially, or they're going to be like the negative space, so you'll be able to see the tote bag behind it. And then the Stegosaurus, if I use blue vinyl, it'll end up like this. It'll kind of have the Stegosaurus will be blue, and the letters will be that negative space. I can click on my design and then use that nice little alignment tool so that they're right in the center. Now this is a good example that this center option isn't a good choice, because even though that it is technically in the middle of the design, that doesn't really work for the Stegosaurus. So I'm going to have to manually kind of put that where I think the middle is. That looks better. And then I can select these and up in the top use my group option. Now if I wanted to move this, I could use that align tool again to move it right into the middle. Actually, so the align tool is going to not be an option because I only have one shape here. But this is a good example that, like, so this whole space is how big my tote bag could, like, it can fit a 12 by 12. And if I were to put this right in the middle here, it's going to waste all of this vinyl on the outside. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to move this dinosaur as high up as I can. So I'm now going to have all this extra vinyl. So when I cut this design out of a 12 by 12 piece of vinyl, I'm going to be able to just make one horizontal cut right there, and that's going to save all of this vinyl that I can reuse. So now I've got my two designs. I've got my math teacher one and my CMSD Stegosaurus. Okay, you're all set.